Welcome all my dear students to Sudharma's Physics classroom. We are on the chapter Refraction of Light from class 10. So we have already discussed about the phenomenon of refraction through a glass slab and what are the effects of refraction. So today we are going to start with a new topic, that's lenses. It's very important topic. So what do you mean by lenses? How many of you have seen a lens? Many of you know what is a lens, right? And the phenomenon taking place when light passes through a lens is nothing but refraction. So, lens means it's a transparent medium having spherical surfaces. It has spherical refracting surfaces. Okay, so it will have two refracting surfaces. We discussed about mirrors, right? Mirrors, we have concave and convex mirrors. Depending on the reflecting surface, right? Depending on the shape of the reflecting surface, we categorize it into a concave mirror and convex mirror. So similarly, here also we have two types of lenses. One is convex lens. We call it as biconvex lens and biconcave lens, right? Because it has two refracting surfaces. So if the refracting surfaces are bulging outward, then it is called as convex lens. Many of you know it already because we have already learned about mirrors. So you know that shape, right? So convex lens and this is concave lens. So how do you identify a convex lens and a concave lens? So understand that it has two spherical refracting surface. Each refracting surface is a part of a complete sphere, which is a refracting material. Okay, it's a refracting material. So if you keep two refracting spherical surfaces like this, if you cut it like this, you will be getting the convex lens. And here here if you have a transparent medium here, right, that will be giving you the concave lens. So here we have convex lens and concave lens. So there are different terms related with a lens. See, we are going to learn about the terms for both concave and convex lens. So the first thing is optic center or optical center. Optical center is the midpoint of the lens. So it's a geometrical center of the lens. We can represent it by using the letter O or P. Anything is okay. Okay. So normally we use P for the pole and optical center O for the lens. So it's up to you, but you have to mention what it is. Okay. So optical center is the center of the refracting surface, geometrical center. Then comes the center of curvature. What is center of curvature? A lens has two spherical surfaces as part of the lens. Center of curvature is the center of the imaginary spheres of which the sides of the lens are parts. We have the spherical refracting surfaces here. Say, let's say this is sphere number 1 and this is sphere number 2. So, there is a sphere. We are not seeing the complete sphere, but we are cutting the refracting surface from a sphere. So, the center of that spherical surface is called as a center of curvature. So, a convex lens and a concave lens will have two centers of curvature. Okay. So, two center of curvatures will be there. So, center of the sphere of which the lens is a part, that is called as center of curvature. Now, let me call this as the optical center, right? Optical center, I repeat, you can mention it as P or O. So, in CBSE textbook, you will be seeing it as O, and in Kerala State syllabus textbook, you will be seeing it as P. Okay, so it doesn't matter. It's the center of that lens. Okay, so we are going to join the optical center and we're going to draw a straight line passing through the centers of curvature and the optical center. Or we can connect these two centers of curvature. So you will be getting a straight line, right? So that is called as the principal axis. The principal axis is the imaginary line that passes through the optic center, joining the two centers of curvature. So that is the same for convex and concave lens. Okay. So the straight line, it's similar, very similar to our mirror terms. Okay. So We have the, instead of pole, we have the optical center. Then we have center of curvature. Centers of curvature, there are two because there are two refracting surfaces. And we are joining the centers of curvature through the optical center. So that imaginary line, that is called as a principal axis of the lens. Okay, so if you are explaining it for convex lens, then make sure you write it's for convex lens, and for concave lens you have to specify it according to the question. Okay, now the very important term, principal focus. So there is an experiment. If you have a lens at home, you can try this. So you're going to use a cardboard box, a shoe box, or any box. Okay. So you're going to make some slit on one side of the box, and you're going to use a torch. Okay. So you kept a convex lens inside it. So when you switch on the torch, a beam of light, a parallel beam of light is passing through the convex lens, and you can see a patch of light on the other end of the box. So you will have to adjust this position of the lens in such a way that you are getting a clear circle of light on this other side of the box. So after that, you're going to measure the distance between the lens and the side of this box. That means you're going to measure this distance. This distance will give you the focal length. So what is this? What is this focus and what is the focal length? So if you have light rays incident parallel and close to the principal axis after refraction converges to a point on the principal axis of a convex lens. This point is the principal focus of a convex lens. Here it is very specifically told it is principal focus of a convex lens. That means it's different for a concave lens, right? So let me explain it again. If you have a beam of light which is parallel to the principal axis, already we have seen what is a principal axis, right? So we have rays of light coming parallel to the principal axis. After refraction from the convex lens, it passes through the lens. Definitely refraction takes place. So because of the shape of this lens, because of the convex shape of the lens, the rays will be merging. The rays will be coming towards the focus. It passes through the focus. Okay. It passes through a point on the principal axis. It will be converging. Very important. It converges to a point. We need to know the term because we will get questions. A converging lens. Okay, when the moment you see a word converging lens, it is convex lens. The rays will be coming towards a particular point. It is converging to a point on the principal axis. That point is called as a principal focus of a convex lens. Then how about concave lens? So definitely, convex lens is a converging lens, and at the same time, concave lens is a diverging lens. Diverging lens means the light rays will not be getting concentrated to a particular point; it will move away from each other. So light rays incident parallel and close to the principal axis diverge from one another after refraction. So diverging lens is concave lens, converging lens is convex lens. These rays appear to originate from a point on the same side. This point is the principal focus of a concave lens. Or in another way, we can say that a parallel beam of light appear to diverge from a point on the principal axis. We feel that it is going away from this point on the principal axis. That is called as the principal focus of a concave lens. So hope you understood the principal focus. Now, what is focal length? I've given you an experiment, right? I told you we measure the distance between the image and the lens, right? So that distance will give you the focal length. So focal length is the distance from the optic center to the principal focus. It is denoted by the letter F, small letter F. Capital letter F is to denote the position focus, and small letter f is to denote the focal length. Okay, so these are the terms related with lenses. Now let's understand the formation of images by lenses. So we know about two types of images, real and virtual images, right? And real images are always inverted and virtual images are upright or erect. So we are going to trace the ray diagrams for lenses. So there are some specific rules we have to follow when we draw the ray diagrams. So let's see what are the rules we have to follow when we construct the ray diagrams and trace the formation of images. So the rule number one, when a ray of light passes through the optic center of a thin lens, it does not undergo deviation. It will pass straight without any bending. We know that lens is a refracting material, right? But when light passes through the optical center, when it passes through the optic center of a thin lens, we are not going to learn about thick lens in grade 10. Okay, so we are going to talk about small lenses, thin lenses. So when the ray of light passes through the optic center, it passes without any deviation. It does not undergo any deviation. Rule number two, a ray of light falling parallel to the principal axis of a convex lens passes through the principal focus after refraction. So this already we have seen, right? When we define the principal focus, we have seen a beam of light which is parallel to the principal axis passing through the focus. So it's the same thing, but again formulated in the form of a rule. Okay. So this is very useful ray when we construct the ray diagram. So we have to use a parallel ray of light after refraction from the convex lens. Remember, I'm talking about convex lens. It passes through the focus. Okay. How about the concave lens then? A ray incident parallel to the principal axis of a concave lens appear to diverge from the focus on the same side of the lens. It just goes away from the focus. So this is how you are expected to draw the diagram. So you have to draw a ray which is parallel to the principal axis. After refraction, it diverges. Okay, it appear to go away from the principal focus of a concave lens. So this is different for convex and concave. It's same for the optical center. Okay, for both concave and convex lens, the ray which is passing through the optical center, it will be same. It pass without any deviation, no matter it is a convex lens or concave lens. Okay. And rule number three, a ray of light passing through the principal focus of a convex lens passes parallel to the principal axis after refraction. See, if you have a ray of light which is passing through the focus after refraction, it comes parallel to the principal axis. If you know all these three rules, we are ready to draw the ray diagrams. We are all set to draw the ray diagrams. So I want each one of you to bring your scale, pencil and erasers. We are going to construct the ray diagrams and we are going to find out where the images will be formed. Okay. So the first object position, those who practice the mirror ray diagrams, this is going to be really easy. First position, object at infinity. When the object is at infinity, what is going to happen? For any time, even in mirrors, we have taken the object at infinity, we have taken the parallel rays, right? Parallel rays to the principal axis. As per the rule, we know that this rays will be converging to a point, that is, it's converging to the focus, right? So we can say that the rays are really meeting. So the image formed is real. How do we know that it is real? Because the rays are converging, they are meeting at a point, so they are real. All the real images are inverted. Okay, real, inverted, and where it is formed at the focus. Image is formed at the focus. Okay, so this is how we have to go with the explanation when we draw the ray diagrams. So for any object at infinity, we will be taking parallel rays. Okay, because the object is at a very large distance from the lens. So image is at the focus, it is real, inverted, and we are not able to see the size, right? It looks like a dot. So we can say that it is highly diminished. What do you mean by diminished? Highly diminished. Very small, point-sized image. It's a point-sized image. So when the object is at infinity, image is at the focus, it's real, inverted, and highly diminished. We are expected to learn each and every position of the object and the image characteristics. Okay, both concave and convex lens. Now comes the next position. It is object beyond 2f. So observe what is happening here. How do we draw the ray diagram? So object beyond 2f. So when we draw the ray diagrams, basically we have to draw the lens, right? Draw the lens. I'm drawing freehand now. Okay. So draw the principal axis. Use the scale to draw the ray diagrams. I'm just showing the uh, procedure. Okay. So mark the optical center, then focus, then double the focus. Here we don't call it as center of curvature. Okay, in the mirror we call it as center of curvature, but here we call it as 2f. Because since it is refraction, we cannot say it is exactly at the center of curvature. So it is 2f. Okay. Now the object is beyond 2f. So I'm going to draw an object beyond 2f. So first ray, lens ray diagrams are really easy because we take a ray which is parallel to the principal axis, another one which passes through the optical center. So you're going to draw a ray which is parallel to the principal axis. After refraction, it passes through the focus. Another ray which passes through the optical center, right? Another ray which passes through the optical center. After refraction, what happens? If it is through the optical center, then it will pass, it will pass undeviated. I've used a clear straight line here. Okay, so it passes undeviated, and now you can see an image is formed where image is formed between f and 2f. Image is formed between f and 2f. So we can say that it is, again, don't forget to draw the arrows because it's a ray diagrams. We have to show the direction. Okay. So image is formed between f and 2f when the object is beyond 2f. So we can say that image between f and 2f, they are really meeting, right? The rays are really meeting. So it is real. All real images are inverted. Compared to the size of the object, image size is small. So we can say that it is diminished, small in size. Okay. So image when the object is beyond 2f, image is between f and 2f, real, inverted, and diminished. Now object at 2f. So we are taking the same rays, okay? So a ray which is parallel to the principal axis, after refraction it passes through the focus. Another ray which is passing through the optical center, it passes without any deviation. So here you will be getting the image. So the image, in the case when the object is at 2f, image will be image at 2f itself. Since the rays are really meeting, right? So it is real. All the real images are inverted. And size, same size, okay? Same size as the object. So when you are drawing the diagrams, you have to make sure, especially for this particular object position, the marking should be exactly correct because the distance between P and F and 2F, right, that should be equal. Or P to 2F should be double the distance of P to F. That's the meaning of 2F, right? So make sure the measurement is correct. Otherwise, you will not get this image position. Okay. And the next object position is object between F and 2F. Object is between F and 2F. Remember, we are taking the ray which is parallel to the principal axis. After refraction, it passes through the focus. Another ray which is passing through the optical center, right? You can see the ray which is passing through the optical center. So it passed without any deviation. Now where the image is formed, the image is formed beyond 2f. So image beyond 2f. Now we can relate and study this. Image is beyond 2f. The rays are meeting. So this is real, inverted. Then it is bigger, right? We can say enlarged. Enlarged or magnified. Another word for that. Both words are fine. We are getting a bigger image. That's the meaning of it. We are getting a bigger image compared to the object. So when the object is between f and 2f, the image is magnified. It is beyond 2f. It is real and inverted. Now comes the object position, which is at the focus. So when the object is at the focus, again make sure your markings are proper. So the refracted rays from the lens, one is through the optical center, another one after refraction, right? It passes through the focus, the ray parallel to the principal axis. So you can see you're getting a parallel, two parallel rays here. So parallel rays, we expect them to meet at infinity. So image will be formed at infinity. Okay, when the object is at the focus, image will be formed at infinity, and when we expect them to meet at infinity, it will be real, inverted, highly magnified, highly magnified. Okay, at infinity, real, inverted, and highly magnified. Now comes the next object position. Object between the optical center and the focus. Object between optic center and focus. So here what happens? This is a special case of convex lens. Throughout these ray diagrams, we have seen the convex lens forming a real image. Here we are going to see a special case, that means convex lens is going to form a virtual image. Hope you remember what happened in the case of a concave mirror, right? Concave mirror, we have seen at a particular position, that means it was between pole and the focus. When the object is kept, the image was virtual magnified. Similar kind of situation is happening for convex lens. So our object is between the optical center and the focus. So this is our object. OB is the object. Okay. So we are following the same rule. Okay. Ray of light passing parallel to the principal axis after refraction passes through the focus. Another ray of light which passes through the focus, passes through the optical center, pass without any deviation. So we can see the rays are moving away from each other. So when it moves away from each other, we can extend it. They're not going to meet. So we're going to extend it backward. So we will be getting an image behind the object. It's on the same side of the object. This is how a virtual image is formed by a convex lens. Okay. So images, the refracted rays are not really meeting. So images virtual and erect. It is magnified, right? So same side as the object. Same side as the object. These are the characteristics of image formed by a convex lens when the object is kept between the optic center and the focus. So this is the only case where a convex lens forms a virtual image. And remember, it's a virtual magnified image. Where do we use this? We know that we use this convex lens as a reading lens, especially in libraries. When we have to read a book which has very small letters, we will be using convex lens as a reading lens, right? So there we will be using this object position. We use the convex lens and keep the lens nearby the pages of the book. We will be seeing a very large letters, right? So we will be able to read it properly. So this is where we use it as a reading lens. Okay. Now let's move on to the concave lens. Concave lens, we have only two object positions. One is when the object is at infinity, another one when the object is anywhere on the principal axis in front of the lens. Okay. So for a infinite object, definitely it is a parallel beam of light we have to show. So image we can expect, it's a virtual image. Okay, concave lens always forms a virtual image. Concave lens forms a virtual image. So if you have an object here, observe how the rays are drawn. It diverges from a point on the principal axis. it diverges from the focus. And when the ray of light passes through the optical center, it passes without any deviation. So you can see here virtually it is meeting. It's not really meeting, it's virtual. So image is virtual. It's diminished. It's a small image. Okay, diminished. It is diminished, virtual, diminished, and erect. Same side as the object or same side of the lens. It's in front of the lens. So we will be getting an image which is smaller in size. Okay, so how do you suppose there is a question? You are given two lenses and a printed sheet of paper. That was a question in a CBSE board exam. You are given two lenses and a printed sheet of paper. How will you identify the lens without touching it? See, definitely when you touch and feel, you can find out what type of lens it is. Because if you feel, okay, the surface is thick, right? Surface is bulging outward, it is a convex lens. If the surface is curved inward, okay, we can feel that it is a concave lens. But the question is without touching it. So if you are given a printed sheet of paper, you have to observe through the lens. Okay. So if that lens is a convex lens, you will be seeing the image bigger. If the lens in your hand is a concave lens, you will be seeing a smaller image. Okay, that is the answer for that question. Hope you understood it. So let's once again revise what we learned, especially the object positions and characteristics. When the object is at infinity, the image will be at the focus, real, inverted, and highly diminished. When the object is beyond 2f, image is between f and 2f, it's real, inverted, and diminished. Then when the object is at 2f, we are getting the same size image at 2f on the other side of the lens. Now, when the object is between f and 2f, image is formed beyond 2f, real, inverted, and it is magnified or enlarged. And when the object is at the focus, image is at infinity, it is real, inverted, and highly magnified. And this is the only special case where convex lens forms a virtual image. So that is when the position is between the optical center and the focus. We will be getting a virtual magnified image. And here comes the concave lens. It always produces a diminished image and a virtual image. So now it's your turn to practice the ray diagrams. So in all the cases, remember we have taken the rays which are parallel to the principal axis. One ray is parallel to the principal axis. Another ray is passing through the optical center of the lens. So there is not much difficulty in drawing the ray diagram. So practice the ray diagrams and learn all the characteristics of the image for each and every position. When I say this, it's important because in the next class, we will be talking about new Cartesian sign conventions and lens formula. So when you have to apply the lens formula and find out the focal length or the object position or image position, magnification, etc., you need to have a thorough knowledge of the characteristics. Then only we will be able to apply the sign conventions. Okay. So practice, read the textbook and come for the next class. And if you are watching this channel for the first time, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon for updates on the classes. So on a regular basis, on a weekly basis, I am updating the classes. Okay. So if you have not seen the previous classes, I will be giving you the link for the classes on the description box. So please go and check it. Because the refraction chapter from the beginning you have to see. Okay, then only the learning will be effective. Okay. So in the next class, we will learn about new Cartesian sign conventions and lens formula and numerical based on that. Okay, so stay tuned for that. So thank you for watching. Bye.